Hello and welcome all to an incredible battle on the Battle of Itza map between myself in control of the Hunts Marshal's expedition against Sly and Sneaky Seal. He's going to be in control of the Lizardmen and the mighty Great White Lizard Gor Rok. So let's have a little look at the armies. Now up front I've gone for a little bit sneaky stabbings. I do have 3 invisible units of huntsmen, including the White Wolves Regiment Renowned version. Now, if you guys don't know, these units are fairly new. They are bowman units who are anti-large and, of course, have stalk. They will tear apart large foes which have light armor, and they will do decent against even the heavily armored foes. And, of course, leading this little expedition up front is, of course, the Hunts Marshal himself, Markus Wulfhart. And he has brought all of his goodies with him. Let's have a little look at him. He's brought that amber bow. He's brought focus shots, so 2 massive damage dealing magic missiles. Focus shot doing more damage on weakened foes. And the hunter's snare, which is absolutely huge area of effect net, which just does so much work. He's also, of course, got fleet-footed, so he's a little bit quicker when enemies get nearby. I'm actually, in fact, going to pause this battle now, and it's get underway quite quickly, as my opponent lives up to his name and is very sly and sneaky. Up in the sky here, we do have an Amethyst Wizard, who, of course, is the Law of Death, looking incredibly evil up there on his fine Pegasus, and he has just brought the Fate of Buna, the big old purple sun spell, which on tabletop used to be disgusting against Lizardmen, as it worked on initiative, and a Spirit Leech. So, obviously, with the Assassin ability of Markus Wulfhart plus the Death Wizard, we're really trying to snipe out some lords here. Now for our main battle line, we have gone for the Halberdiers. My thinking behind this is they have a little bit of armor piercing as well compared to your basic spearmen. So yes, they're anti-large, which is useful of course against foes who bring gigantic monsters, but at the same time they'll be able to do fairly decent against Saurus warriors, at least holding them in place and giving back a little bit of damage. Now in reserve we do have 2 units of spearmen on either flank and 1 protecting a great cannon in the back. Now this great cannon's going to be trying to focus down some of those big dinos and any temple guard my opponent may have brought. Now up on the left hand side we do have the mighty and glorious Demigryph Knights, getting very excited here as they charge headlong towards the foe. These guys are anti-large, absolute killing machines. They will mulch through any of the Lizardmen cavalry, do decent damage against infantry, and of course eat the big monsters. And they're going to be riding dirty alongside the Black Lions Regiment Around war wagons, who of course have the Hellblasters on their back. These guys are fairly fast, at least for an artillery piece they're very fast, but they can be caught pretty easily, so the Demigryphs are going to be working as a bodyguard unit to them. And these guys left unimpeded can do a huge amount of damage. Now for my opponent's army, see he's been very sly and sneaky. In the back he has 2 units of Chameleon Skinks, 1 on either flank, and up in the skies 2 units of Pterodon Riders. We'll see how he makes best use of these guys. Of course they do have their rock drop. I'm not the best at using them, but of course we'll see how they play out. Now for his main battle line, he has gone for Saurus warriors with shields, including the Legion of Shakwa, Regiment Round Saurus Spearmen. I like this pick. They should do pretty good at deflecting those nasty Huntsman missiles. With their big old shields, and the Legion of Shakwa of course have the ability to drop the Shield of Shakwa, giving 44% missile resistance to all friendly homies in kind of like the local area, which is pretty good. He's gone for 3 Feral Basilians in the back here. These guys are there just to punch through that front line and try and hop on top of handgunners and so forth. Though I haven't brought any, they will do decent, in combat, trying to break through the front line. Now for his leadership, he's of course gone for the mighty great wizard Gor Rok, who I think is the best pick against Empire now, considering the new lords for that Empire. He is very, very tanky. Well, it looks like my opponent hasn't brought the Shield of Eons. He's just gone for Rock of Itza, which of course is still pretty damn good. Plus 9% vigor, plus 44% physical resistance, which is pretty huge. Now he's very tanky and a decent melee combatant. I've seen him a ton up against Markus Wulfhart, and the battles often form into him trying to chase him around the map while he's getting shot with those 360 no-scopes. And of course, the Skink Priest of Heaven is going to be in the back with Curse of the Midnight Wind and Wind Blast, which is very good kind of competitive picks. And I think we need to, appreciate the Skink Priest model a little bit more. Look how badass he looks with all his feathers. Very cool little fella there. Yeah, the 2 Cold One Riders on either flank, which do very decent against almost all Empire cavalry, apart from, of course, the Demigryph Knights with Halberds. So let's get this battle underway. So as you can see, my opponent is coming for a bit of an alpha strike down on the cannon. I do notice this almost immediately and pull back the Huntsman. And as you can see, they do a ton of damage against these large foes, especially the light armored. But those rock drops coming in do a huge amount of damage, and he's charging both units in on top of the great cannon. But at what cost? we have the 3 units, including the White Wolves here, firing unimpeded, and we are just shrekking those Pterodon Riders. One is already broken off, the other one has taken a huge amount of damage, but in return I am losing the Great Cannon, which is a bit of a blow this early on, of course not paid for itself at all. The front lines are about to engage. We do move up the halberdiers, and we already see up on the flank here, we've brought the Black Lions, brought them up onto this high ground, trying to get some shots into those Saurus Warriors. In the back, we have managed to fend off both Pterodon Riders, but in return, we did completely lose the cannon. Now here we can see one of Markus' abilities. We do drop a massive net in the front here, netting down these two Saurus Warriors, plus Bastildon, plus Gor Rok, and you can see he may be tanky, he may have a silver shield, but he has still taken a ton of damage from the mighty Markus Wulfhart here. Front line has engaged. We're looping some spearmen around the right flank here, just so we can try and get some road charge and fend off any of these nasty Cold One riders. In the back, though, we are in complete disarray here, as the chameleon skinks, I did not spot them, have snuck in and hopping into combat of my huntsmen, really neutering their abilities, and these spearmen are trying to desperately salvage the situation. We see Markus is running for the hills, being chased down by some Saurus Warriors. We do have a really nice wind blast coming in here, shrekking some of my halberdiers. In the front line, we've been dropping Spirit Leeches on top of Gor Rok with the Deathcaster here. Looks like another one's coming in now, really trying to focus him down. Things are going a little bit better on this left-hand flank. The Demigryph Knights have managed to get in here and tear apart this Feral Bastildon with help from the Black Line, which is just sitting on this little bit of high ground here, shooting down the battle line. And as we can see, it's already up to 31 kills, which is pretty damn impressive. And the Demigryphs are just running rampant on top of these Feral Bastildons, and going to be coming back to try and bodyguard the Black Line, which will get torn apart very quickly by these Cold One Riders. Instead, though, they're getting a nice rear charge from the Demigryph Knights. My opponent is force clicking them, though, to try and get on top of those Black Lines. In the background, we can see a magic missile shot is going to be marked on top of Gor Rok there, and let's see if he gets pinged off. There it comes in. Bam! A quarter of his health just deleted there. But as you can see, my front line has completely collapsed, and the power balance is starting to ebb in my opponent's favour. Markus has been caught in the background here. Now, he's a fast fella, but you do have to keep him moving, so we do drop a sneaky net here, letting down these 2 units and allowing him to escape, hopefully. There he goes. So he's going to be running for the hills. Now, the front line, how it is, some of them are holding strong, but the spearmen have all completely broken. And up in the high ground, my opponent did manage to get on top of the Black Line. It looks like it is starting to rout, but key here is all 3 models are still alive. So it doesn't matter if they lose HP, as long as all 3 of those models survive, they're going to have the exact same amount of damage output is what we want. And it looks like these Cold Ones are going to be completely shattered off, facing down the Demigryph Knights. There's still chameleons who are running around, who are going to be hunting these guys down. We do have the White Wolves running away from chameleons, which is definitely not where they want to be. Everything else, though, is looking pretty bleak. The power balance ebbing and ebbing even further in my opponent's favour. So we're trying to get this back wherever we can by trying to snipe out the Skink Priest here with the Deathcaster. And we do have a little pocket of rallying troops over in the distance here. Once again, I've allowed Markus to get caught, which isn't too good, as he is faster than these guys. Well, the chameleon skinks can close him down. But he is coming in with a magic missile attack on Gor Rok, flinging it in there. And Watakobe, the great white lizard, has been deleted. So he has gone down, moving the power balance back into the middle. We drop a Fate of Buna down on these Cold Ones, really trying to slow them down and stop them, whilst we have some huntsmen firing in as well. But Markus, once again, has been caught, which is really bad for us. Now, the Black Lions have rallied up on top of the hill there, and they still have a very decent range, firing into the back of these Saurus Warriors. On top of their high ground, they're up to 46 kills, which is pretty impressive. We do have some Hellbird bodyguards. Now, in the background, we do have Demigryphs just shattering off some chameleon skinks and freeing up these White Wolves. And we're going to try and remake a stand up on top of this hill, as the bottom, as you can see, is just surrounded by Lizardmen foes. Once again, we drop on net, allowing Markus to escape, and he is a very tricksy customer. He can sneak out of all type of engagements. Just by dropping that big net, we pin down 3 units, and he is running for the hills now. He'd most certainly be dead if it wasn't for his net so far, so I was really happy with the net play this game. Huntsman over on the side, though, and how it is, have been beaten off by his Feral Bastildon. My opponent is, of course, going to chase them off. Very good play by him there. As you can see, power balance, though, is slowly being dragged back just because we've managed to rally on top of this hill a little bit where we plan to make our last stand. And Markus is just leading these Saurus Warriors on a merry chase. They're not going to be able to catch him, although he has been slowed down by these chameleon skinks. He's still doing his 360 shots regardless. Now, the Death Wizard just cackling up in the sky, floating around doing bits, and it looks like he has in fact dropped a Spirit Leech down on this Skink Priest. We have some troops running in the side here, but it's 31 spearmen. They're not going to be of much kind of, impact on the battlefield. And up in the sky, my opponent does keep trying to shut down the black line to up to 53 kills now, but the Demigryphs doing their job well, hunting down these units and shattering them off. Looks like we have some rallying spearmen as well. And Halberdiers, again, a favourable matchup against the Feral Bastiladon down here. And Demigryphs, it looks like is going to be swooping down here. Let's get a little slow motion charge. It's the heroic men of the Empire charge against the ferocious beast, and these guys are going to tear it apart with their halberds coming in here and just going to tear him apart quite comfortably. So as we can see, his health is going to start to tank. Markus being chased by everyone. But what we've done, we've positioned our black lions up here on this slope, and they are just blitzing downhill completely unimpeded, up to 78 kills. Some of them are spinning for some reason, but you know, it's added style points, and they're just breaking off any unit that tries to chase down Markus, which is really key here. As you can see, they've broken 2 units so far. Now they're flinging shots into the third one. Looks like they may break as well. Cold-blooded drops on them to keep them into the fight. They roll down the hill a little bit, but they're just firing shots as they go, breaking off all these units. And all of a sudden, it looks like we're in quite a powerful position with all the Empire troops re-rallying to the Hunts Marshal. He's going to be pinging shots in. Looks like he's lining up another magic missile there. And he just destroys that Skink Priest. He has such good character assassination abilities. And it looks like the Hellblaster volley guns do finish off the last of that leadership. So we're trying to break their leadership at this point, knowing the Feral Bastiladons do not have the best, and then just do enough damage to break these guys off. My opponent still has a very healthy regiment round Saurus Spears here, though, who are going to be a big pain. So we're just trying to avoid them with the Demigryph Knights wherever we can, and instead use their added mobility to hunt down these Feral Bastiladons, isolate targets, and finish them off. As we can see, the Death Wizard is just escorting this Bastiladon off the field. And the other one, there's no chance he's escaping that. My opponent, though, still fighting to the death, has a Feral Bastiladon plus Legion of Shakwa making a bit of a death ball stand. Demigryphs charging in, but they're going to have to fall back pretty quick as they will get picked apart by Legion of Shakwa. But up on the high ground, we still have these volleys coming in from the Black Line and Markus, up to 116 kills now, which is pretty ridiculous, as the Spearmen and Halberdiers do rally to try and slow down these units here and allow us to shoot a little bit more. But it looks like we are out of ammo with the Black Line. They could be now used as a light chariot unit. Markus is still popping those shots in, aiming for that Bastiladon. As we can see, these guys are going to be charging in and flinging Saurus left, right and centre, just trying to break units. These guys don't do much damage on the charge, but they still work as a chariot, you know, rolling through these guys, not taking too much damage in return. In the distance, we can see the Wizard is just about to escort this Bastiladon off the field, and he'll be back into the fray. The Demigryphs are going to be coming in for a charge, but every time we charge our Spearmen and Halberdiers into the front line, they're so beaten up, they just instantly break at the sight of such an evil creature. Markus is going to be continuous to shoot in, but it's still kind of on the tip of a knife's edge at the moment. I'd say it favours us as the power of balance agrees with me, but it's still anyone's game at the moment. We really can't get these Demigryphs stuck into the Legion of Shakwa, but we're trying to pick off this Feral Bastiladon where we can. So instead, we're going to pick off some rallying troops, just destroy them. It's free value, you might as well, and it helps me with the power of balance as much as possible, allowing some of my troops over here to rally, and it looks like the Deathcaster is going to come back to the field. So some Chameleon Skinks have been very sneaky and managed to fend off the black lines there. And Markus is back to running. He is putting some absolute cardio so far this battle, running and shooting wherever he can, up to 83 kills, which is pretty impressive considering he also, you know, has managed to snipe out Gor Rok. And as we see, we have the Spearmen running in to distract the Legion of Shakwa. Bastiladon has rampaged, so we simply pulled back with the Demigryph Knights here, drag him away from his friends, and then turn around and charged in, and he is now getting dragged down pretty comfortably. So overall, I think it's looking very favourable for me here. The Chameleon Skinks trying their best to hunt down Markus, who is now going to return some shots just to try and break them. The Black Lions are going to come in for that nice rear charge as well and try and escort them off the field. The Feral Bastiladon is completely gone now. It's broken, but there's no way it's going to be able to escape this. And the Legion of Shakwa is getting bogged down by standard Spearmen and Halberdiers. As soon as this Bastiladon is off the field, the Demigryphs will be able to try to do some rear charges and really break those guys' leadership. And as you can see, their leadership does start to buckle as army losses sets in, power balance floods in my favour, and that is a very, very Pyrrhic victory for the Empire there. So let's go to the end stats. So first and foremost, very well played to Sly and Sneaky Seal, always a very good opponent. We have a lot of close games. And overall, I quite like his build. He really did catch me out early on with the Pterodon Riders, managing to take out that cannon, which got 0 value in return. But luckily, I had the Huntsmen on guard, and they just destroyed the Pterodon Riders so quickly, and obviously Pterodon Riders so fast, that close to the board edge, they're just going to flee off the field. So it wasn't too bad of a trade, but then these sneaky Chameleon Skinks I think are a fantastic pick. They pretty much neutered the Huntsman to very little kills, and they really did not carry the day. What worked really well for me, of course, Markus with his nets dragging units all over the place and managing to be very sneaky and escape, being a little bit of a tricksy customer, plus being able to snipe out Gor Rok, limiting him just to 13 kills, which of course is not paying for himself. How it is, did a decent job holding long enough to allow the Black Lions to get up on top of that high ground, round the flank, and just tear into this army. 118 kills. Considering a lot of the time it was shooting the big targets as well, it really was the MVP. Just being protected by these Demigryph Knights who got up to 108 kills. So I don't normally play Empire, but definitely with some of the new units, it much more suits my style of play, and I'm actually going to be playing them a little bit more, I think. Really fun game. It's my first time using the Huntsman's Expedition, so I'm sure I made a lot of mistakes and whatnot, but overall, super fun, really fun game. Really enjoying the net ability. It is so obnoxious to play against, but using it yourself, managing to kite back with Markus, and using these really cool new units like the Black Lions are super good fun. So that game was very fun to play. Hope you guys enjoyed as well. If you did, please do leave a like and subscribe and all that kind of standard good YouTube stuff. If you want to support the channel anyway, I do have a Patreon just down below. So peace out, guys, and until next time, stay awesome.